Hi, this is John Welker with Jerome Cerny Architects. This is video number 4 in a series I've been doing on Graphisoft's Archicad and how you can start with Archicad right out of the box and be productive. I'm showing how to create a preliminary floor plan and get that on a piece of paper and out the door. I know a lot of new users and those having downloaded a trial version are always concerned about how quickly they can be up and running with Archicad, and I just tell them literally, the same day you get it. It doesn't take a lot to really get going with a preliminary floor plan and get it on a sheet of paper and out the door. So anyhow, I've done 3 videos. This is the 4th. This one's going to be on the roof and getting ready for elevations. And I guess without further ado, we'll go ahead and open up the plan. Hopefully this looks familiar to you. It's the first floor plan of the design that we've been working on. And what I'm going to do is go up to the second floor, or actually the second floor plate. And then over here on the right under Organizer, I'm going to go to the second floor and right click on it and say show as a trace reference, and we have the second floor kind of grayed out down below our view, and we're going to put a roof on this. We'll go over to the left side here under tools under roof and click on it. Up top here, make it sure it's set on the roof layer, and again, reasons that will be evident later on in terms of setting layers for different items. We're going to use the multi-plane method, and we're going to use the complex roof method for construction, which is multi-lined. And we're going to use a basic structure. If yours isn't set this way, if you're trying to follow along or with your own design, click on that. We'll leave this wood frame. If it's not that, doesn't matter what you put it to at this point. And then over here, we're showing that we're currently on the second floor plate story. That matches up with what you see here on the top of this view. We're going to set it for a 612 pitch. So there are multiple ways this can be set in degrees and feet. This is 6 inches and 12 inches. The base of our roof structure here is going to be at 0 for this current story. So that means we'll be sitting right on top of the plate. And then we'll set a thickness here of the roof structure, and we're going to do that as the thickness as one would look at it, I guess parallel to the pitch of the roof, and that is going to be about 4 inches in our case, because I'm anticipating this being a trussed roof, 2x4s with a 1/2 inch plywood, so that's 4 inches. And then as far as overhang goes, we're going to click on this button and set our overhang, and I'm going to set it at 4 feet. We have a surface that's currently set up for shakes random. If yours isn't, you can go down here and set that up for that. And then for our pitch of our fascia board, we're going to go to a custom angle and put in 60 here, and that's because that's what I'm decided I wanted. And we'll come over to the plan and come down to the corner here. And I'll make a note that in some cases, many cases, you can use what's called the magic wand. That's right down here, this little icon. Or you can use, hold down the space bar and the little icon for that will come up. You hover over a perimeter that you want to trace, such as the outside walls here, and you click. Now it hasn't been working because of this chimney that's on our plan, but we'll click on it and show you that, well, not quite what we wanted or had in mind. So we'll just undo that, and we'll go and just outline our whole second floor. And we didn't click on this construction method here, which is a multi-lined. And come down here, we'll work our way around the plan, going to those corners, inside and outside corners, and our cursor turning, our little pencil turning black there to say that we're on the corner. Now here, because we have a corner window, I'm just going to hold the shift key and keep the the pencil going in the up and down direction, lock it there, and then I'm going to hover over here, and that's the height, or that's the point I want to stop at, which would be the corner of the outside two corner walls intersecting there. Click on that, and that gets me that point, and then I bring it over to here, same problem. So I'll just drag it down while holding the shift key. I find this point, and that makes sure that I'm aligned with that wall. I pull it down the wall here. I don't have to hold the shift key anymore if I just keep it straight. And again, go to those outside and inside corners, complete the box, and there's our roof. So it looks pretty good, hip roof. We have that currently showing up on what we'd want to set here is our home story, and that looks fine. What we're going to do though is I'm going to change the pivot point on the roof, and I'll explain that what I mean here. We're going to take the cover fills, just turn those off for a moment. And this line that you see here when we traced around, that's not really the point at which the roof rafter, if you will, I know we're talking about trusses, but normally if you're familiar with the phrase bird's mouth on a rafter, that you cut that in so that basically that inside edge is coming to the inside of the stud wall below. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this edge. We're going to hit this little icon in the pet palette, offset all edges. That means it'll take them all the way around. And we're going to come in and align it with the wall inside here. We can do it here by using the perpendicular method. Or in our case here, what we want to do is I want to set this up to come in 11.5 inches. So I'm actually at the stud line and not the drywall line. So I'm going to type in 11.5 inches, and that gets me set up for the correct location. And then we will we'll click off of that. We'll go down a level. We'll leave the shakes not showing at the moment. We'll go down to the first floor plate. I'm sorry, first floor I meant. And this is, we want to put a roof over the garage, and we want to put a roof over the living room. So we'll set the first floor plate up, and we want to right click over here in the organizer under the first floor and show that as our trace reference now, not that second floor that you just saw. And we're going to trace out with our roof tool, currently set. The only changes we're going to make here is we're going to make that thickness 1 foot, and that is because we're going to use a 2x12 rafter and 1/2 inch plywood, which will total up to 1 foot. And we're doing that because this is a cathedral ceiling. We want to insulate it, and I'm going to do the same thing over the garage because I anticipate them finishing off space over the garage and maybe expanding a little bit into there. And I want to just set it up so that they can insulate that that ceiling in that area, and thus we'll use the same profile. We're going to come here over to the living room and family room intersection, click on there, and instead of just tracing around, we've just got a box to do here. So we're going to go up top on the fly, change to the box method, come out here, and now I want to make sure that I'm out in the outside corner. Even though it looks like I am, and it happens to line up with that wall, I'm going to go here and take a guideline and come over here to this wall and do a guideline, and then I'm going to that intersection, and all of a sudden the mouse quits working for whatever reason. We'll hit escape and try that again. And try that again. Clicking there, coming down to that intersection, clicking there, and we've got a roof on. Again, it's got the cover fills set up here, so we'll undo those cover fills so we can see what's going on. And what we want to do here is, again, bring that pivot line in to the correct point, that being 11.5 inches. And that's set up correctly. Then we'll pull this one back to be even with that brick wall. And of course we don't want a hip on this side, we want it to be a gable. So ArchiCAD's got a great little feature. We click on this pivot line and we go to the last radio button here in the palette and we change the plane type to gable, and we're going to have no overhang there, or 0, and click OK. And we have a gabled end and a hip end on this side, exactly what we wanted. So we've got that set up. That looks great. And then we'll go over here to the garage and we'll pick this outside corner and pull it down to that outside corner. We've got our roof. Again, we've got it set up for our cover fill on. We're going to turn the cover fill off, and then we're going to pull that offset in 11.5 inches. Again, that's the pivot line, wanting to make sure that we line it up kind of with the inside edge of what would be the stud wall below. And we've done that. Now we've got a situation here where we've got a 2-story section here and this roof on a 1-story section, and we're going to probably need to put in a pretty decent sized saddle there. Again, a lot of ways to do this, but my way is I just come to this other wall here and I click on that point and I get myself a guideline here on that wall, and I just stretch out a proposed, whoops, sorry about that. We had that roof highlighted at the same time, so that cut a hole in it instead of creating a new roof. Guideline, stretch it out here, and I've got a new roof. Again, we'll turn off that. And you see how that roof kind of still was grayed out. You just get rid of that by zooming in, zooming out. It just refreshes the view. Here, what we want to do is, first thing is we will take this, we want to get rid of this overhang all the way around. And so doing that, we'll click on the edge here. We'll go out to our radio button here and we'll say 0 for our overhang on all sides. And oops, what we didn't look at there was a setting, so that's good. We'll show you how that happens. Click on that, and right down here is apply changes to. Click plane, which would just be the one side, or in this case we want all planes, all 4 sides, and we want 0 as our overhang, and we say OK. And so now you see this is the pivot line and the edge of the roof line combined and set up like you see. What we'll do is on this end create a gable like we did before. So again, clicking on that, you see it's set to clicked edge. I think it defaults to that actually. And actually we grabbed the wrong line there. So what we'll do is click on this, and now we can change it to a gable. And so we have a gable all along this end, which is up against the wall there. As a matter of fact, we need to pull that to where the outside of that wall would be, which is right there. And we have a hip on this end. We'll bring that end hip pivot line back in line with this inside wall. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring these 2 roofs together. We're going to click on, make them both selected. We're going to go up to Design and go to Connect, Trim Elements to Roof. And then the first thing that it's defaulted to, use roof cells from the current selection. We're going to say Trim. And you see how it has trimmed that roof to this roof. And the fact that this one's peak is a little higher, it's correctly put in that little jog in the ridge. Now, what we also want to do is this first roof that we put on, we don't want it sticking into the building. We need to cut out this section right here. We'll do that by giving ourselves a little handle here by putting a node there and putting a node here, and then just clicking somewhere in here with the Mercedes cursor showing, set up for one plane adjustment, and bring that to that outside wall, and we would then cut that overhang out and it's not sticking into the building. We'll click off of that and we've got that correctly shown. That looks good. So what we'll do is go back to both of these, click on both, go to that floor plan section, turn on the cover fills. And if yours wasn't already set up, defaulted, and it probably wasn't, there's a couple things you want to select here. If you didn't have the shakes in, you go and set the shakes. But these two items right here, if they weren't clicked on, you want to look and see that I just turned them off, and you see the shakes here going all one way. All right, so you want to align that fill with each of the pitches of the roof. So in this case, 3 different ones, 4 different ones. And then you also want to hit the distort with pitch. So it actually shortens or lengthens the view of the shakes based upon the pitch of the roof. I.e., if it was a 12-12, it would be shorter length looking at it from the sky than if it were 6-12. So we click that, and again, just a little thing, but kind of nice to have. So what we'll do is go up to the second floor and see that our second floor has got our walls showing and our roofs showing. I don't know if that was just a little hiccup there for some reason, but pushing that around, we got it to change. Now, the only thing that we don't have showing correctly is, and I thought when we, oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't merge the roofs together. We trimmed them, but we did not merge them. And that's okay, we don't have to, but if we want to have the fills show on both, we have to literally show both. And then click on this and set cover fills again for that other piece of roof. So my fault, maybe we could have merged those instead of trimming them, and that would have solved that. But anyway, we've got this looking the way we want. We want to see those. What we don't have is I like to see a dashed line for the roof up above here on that plate. So we'll go up to that plate level, see that that's a solid line, which is fine for this view, and we're going to click on this and make sure that our cover fills are on. Okay, but we want to have a dashed line below, and we're not seeing that. So what we're going to do is up here at Home Story, and there might be another way to do this, but this is the way I do it. We're going to go click on that, and we're going to, instead of saying Home Story and 1 story down, which will still put the fill pattern, we don't want that on the next story down. So we're going to go to Custom, and under Custom, we're going to talk about the fill. The fill is how we want it right now on the Home Story, none above and none below. On the outline, we want stories up. Well, we don't actually care about above because we're only talking about that level, but we do want it shown 1 story down. And so we'll go ahead and say okay, and then I think for our outlines we're okay. It should come up dashed. So we'll just click on that, and we're going to go over to second floor, and there we go. It shows up as a dashed line, and I particularly like to see that. So if we go to the first floor, you won't see it, but unfortunately we have these 2 roofs set incorrectly, and thus we're going to change those, and I guess we're going to have to make those go to a custom setting as well. Edit that. And again, what we want here is we want to show the fill on not a Home Story is okay, and then 2 up is what we want, and then going down we want none below. And then as far as the outlines, we want 1 below, and that should turn that off and keep those as dashed lines on this view. And it does. We just zoom in, zoom out, click off of that, and they're correctly shown. And again, because this roof isn't merged up with this roof, we're going to highlight this roof, do the same settings for it as custom, edit the custom, come down here and say 1 story down is correct, and we want none showing below. We want it on the Home Story only for fill, and we want it 2 stories up. So we'll say OK. That should get rid of it there, and it does. And so our roof lines are correctly shown with the dashed lines on this level and on the second floor level, and that looks great. What we don't have are the 2 chimneys. And again, if we go down to that second floor, you see we have a chimney here and a chimney here. Looks like we're actually missing a wall here. Let's go down 1 floor and see if it's there. Okay, it is. So let's just see why that might be. Probably just set for home story. That's set for all relevant stories. So that actually should be showing up. We'll go up a story or up to our second floor and see if we can find that wall. And this is a display aspect. We're going to take all of these and just say, oops, holding the shift key down, I'm clicking on each wall, and then I'm going to right click, and now I don't know why that's being stubborn here. It's certainly the operator, I know. Okay, the walls are lit. Oh, and I need to be in the wall tool in order to then, unbelievable. Right click, display order, bring to front, and then we actually see those. And we'll do one more thing to make that look correct, and that's change the display order of that and bring it to the front, and then that shows that chimney. And that correctly, we'll get back up to that second floor plate. There's the chimney. Now this one, for whatever other reason, oh, this one probably isn't up tall enough to go through this story that we're at, therefore it's not showing up. What we are going to do though is create some chimney caps and use the morph tool here. And so over here we go to the left side, we're going to select morph tool, and we're going to set it for the walls exterior. I have normally a chimney layer or chimney cap layer, but in this case we don't have that, and I'm not going to show you how to set that up yet. We're going to make it a rectangular tool. We're going to change our material here to the concrete topping material. We're on the second floor plate level, which is good. That's what we want. And now we want to create these a morph here and a morph here, and of course we can't see where that chimney is, so we would change the roof here not to show its fill, and then we could see it and trace over it. But we want to get it at the right height, and even though we could calculate that, I'm going to finally use a 3D view here. Wasn't quite ready to start you in on 3D, but we're going to do that. And so I'm going to press the F3 key, and that takes me to a 3D window. And there is our 3D that's been generated behind the scenes as we've been going along. And how we manipulate, or how we maneuver around in a 3D window is on your three button mouse, you hold down the center scroll wheel, and you can pan, so you can push the building around like so. If you hold down the shift key, you go into the rotate mode, and of course if you use your scroll wheel, you can scroll in and out. So we'll just go over this chimney right here, scroll down to it. We're in our morph tool, we've got all the settings we just went over, and we're going to click on a corner and click on a corner, and that gives us a morph that's just a flat surface. We're going to click on it by just finding an edge, and then we're going to click on the middle of it. A pet palette comes up. We're going to go to this is what they call their push-pull tool. Click on it, and we're going to raise, just move our mouse in this direction and raise that up, and we're going to type in a distance, and that being 2 feet, because that's how tall I want the chimney cap, and enter. And now we have a chimney cap, and we're going to do that. We're going to zoom out a little bit, come over to the other chimney, zoom in on it, and create the same thing there. Oops, didn't mean it was a right click, not a left click. And pull that up and type in 2, enter, and we have a chimney cap there. Okay, so in 3D, we've set those 2 chimney caps. One thing we're going to do is it realizes what stories we're on, and I want these to be on the same story, which is the second floor plate. And you can see if I highlight this one, it says that we are on the second floor plate. But if I highlight this one, it says we're on the second floor. So we want to change that and make it second floor plate. It automatically throws it up. We go Control D, grab any one of the corners, drag it down to here, and we didn't quite make it all the way down, so we'll highlight that cap again, Control D, drag it down to that point of the chimney, and we've got it set in place. Now we'll just close out of that. I know it's fun to look at that 3D, we'll get to it later. Close and come over here to that second floor plate level, and now you see here we've got a chimney cap, or what we want it to be is a chimney cap, and we have another one up here, but those walls are showing up. And so what we're going to do is, when we highlight here, you see that we've got the morph selected. So we're going to tab off of that by just hitting the tab key. Guess we're not. We're going to go and touch the start the wall tool over here, and that then tells the cursor we're looking for walls, not morphs. And we highlight all those walls. And again, it's not grabbing the wall there. Now it's got the wall. So we've got all 4 walls there. We're going to right click, we're going to display order, and we're going to go send to back. And that puts it behind everything else. We've got the chimney cap shown, and what we want to do here is, in order for us to see that chimney cap and have it kind of show up the way I'm going to want it to show up, we're going to go to the morph tool, click on that, come back over here, click on the chimney cap, and or on the morph, and we're going to go to the floor plan section, and I want to have the uncut line that's going to outline it set for 144. This is this black line right here, and it's a 40 millimeter line. So I'm clicking on that, and then our cover fill, yours probably isn't set to this, so we click on that. We want to find a cover fill that is going to kind of indicate that it's a different surface there of concrete, gravel, what have you. So we're going to select that one. We're going to set the fill pen for that at 142. That's this one right here. And we've got our, now you can't see a difference there, and that's because we're in a mode. If we go up to the view and we do on-screen view options and we go over to true line weight, it's not checked. So if we just click on that, that's going to show us what truly is the line weight for everything that's on the screen, and you can see that it is then changed, and that's what's really set. When you're working on, a lot of your modeling, you normally keep that set to off, just because it's easier to deal with, when you zoom in and zoom out, and it actually makes it a little quicker as well. Now, one thing that, those settings, we're going to go over there and suck up those settings. We're going to come over to this morph, and we're going to inject the settings there. Except if we do that, it's probably going to change its height. Now let's go ahead and do it anyhow. And we'll just quickly go to F3 and see that, yes, in fact, it also changed the height along with all the settings. And we didn't want the height changed, so we'll just drag this back down to that point, click on it, and again, we keep grabbing a different corner. We want that one to that one, and we're done. Close out of that. I know you can't see a change there, but now it's at the correct height and set for the correct cover fill and the correct settings for the cover fill itself. Now, the other thing we want to do is take this roof, and as you can see, I'll click off of it again. If you look at these two roofs, they look the same, okay? and we want them to look different when you go to really print them out. And so we're under true line weight currently right now, and they're showing to be the same. So what we want to do is highlight the upper roof, go to floor plan and section, and look at our line selections for outlines. And the uncut line currently is set for 5. We'll see what that is. That's a 12 millimeter. I'm just going to take it down to black and go to 30 millimeter. And that'll make that outline a little darker. And then the shakes, that's got a cover fill pen of this 2 up here. And I'm going to come over here and make it this 3. And that shows that up as a little darker. And now you have a difference between these two, so that when you do print out, this is going to be a little more in the forefront, that'll be a little more in the background, as this is closer to wherever we are flying overhead. So now we've got the roof plan set correctly, and let's just confirm that if we go down to the second floor, it looks the way we want it to look, and we go down to the first floor, and the first floor looks the way we want it to look. And we've got that completed. So we're ready to take that roof plan and bring it over here and put it on a piece of paper. Now there is one that was already set up there. We're just going to go in, right click it, and delete it. And then we're going to take this one, click on it, and drag it over and drop it right on top of the roof plan sheet. And we go over to the roof plan sheet. There it is. We click here on the edge of the window, and what we'll do is we'll grab the window and just drag it up a bit, get a little better centering of this on the page, and then we'll pull the window, and we'll pull the window down to not show those elevation markers that you see on all 4 sides. And again, we could have taken those off of our, hidden them on our view, and there we have our roof plan set up and ready to print out. Again, not the focus of what we're trying to do here is to create a floor plan or a roof plan, but we needed to do that in order to move on to our elevations. And those 4 elevation markers actually are generating elevations for us automatically, and they are going to be the subject of the next video on creating elevations. So hopefully you learned something there. Tried to go a little quicker in my speaking, and maybe kind of flubbed up a few words, but I think you get the gist of everything. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.